Opinions expressed are those of the show hosts, not WSTU or Little Dog Media Group, LLC. Any reproduction or reuse of this program without the written consent of WSTU or Little Dog Media Group, LLC is strictly prohibited. Advisory services offered through Blackridge Asset Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities are offered through Peak Brokerage Services, LLC, member FINRA SIPC. Blackridge Asset Management, LLC, and Artache Financial Group are separate and independent entities from Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Live from the heart of the Treasure Coast, it's time for Fridays at 5, the weekend warm-up that mixes local happenings, entertainment buzz, and just the right dose of laughs. Whether you're stuck in traffic or sliding into the weekend, this is your weekly pit stop for good vibes, great guests, and everything going on in Martin County and beyond. This is Fridays at 5 with Denny Artache.
Good afternoon. Another version of Friday at 5 on Denny Artache Show. Ray Thomas, how are you today, my brother?
I'm good. I'm here. I made it.
You are. You know, that 3:30 in the morning thing, that's tough, bro. This is like the 14th hour that you're up. I mean,
isn't that awesome?
It is good, right? You ready to do jumping jacks?
Let's do it. Come on.
Listen, it's beautiful in Florida, but it's a little bit warm out there, don't you think? I mean,
if no air conditioning in my car right now.
If your electricity breaks down, folks, just take the pans outside. I think you can successfully cook whatever you like today.
I got the little fan that you clip in the vent.
I did notice that. The other thing is, what is it with all this driving? I mean, there was an accident on 95. There was one on 76. There was like 6 cop cars. I don't know.
Are you new to Florida?
Yeah, no, I'm not new to Florida. But I mean, today looked like it was, and you said there was a bad one yesterday, or
there's like 7 cars right on like Central Avenue, US 1.
Okay,
and it looked like an SUV looked like an accordion, and
nice.
Wow,
and it was tying up traffic going southbound on US 1 for about a couple miles. So, got to be careful out there. You know, people texting and driving and
texting and driving, spacing out. It's Friday, man. Miller time. Be careful out there, folks. Well, we have a special show, and sitting in for Marla. You're going to believe this? Marla has lost her voice.
No.
Yes.
No.
So she.
Yes.
I don't believe you.
She's probably
Marla,
listening.
if you're
right
listening,
now.
yeah, she went to LA, right? And I said, Marla, what the heck's wrong with you? You go to LA, they start rioting and burning cars. I mean, what the hell's going on with you? So then she comes back, and I think she had lunch with Nina.
No, she canceled.
She canceled. Okay,
she can't because she can't talk.
So Nina sat in for her last.
Oh my!
For her last week. Sitting in for Marla, the lovely Nina Pachillo, the nutrition and fitness expert. How are you today?
I am wonderful.
You're looking great as
Thank
usual.
you for having me again.
Tom, I excuse me, Ray.
Both those guys, by the way. Yeah,
I have to apologize, dude. I keep bringing in beautiful, intelligent women.
I know. Why do you do this
station,
for me? You know.
And I know you're looking for when Marla gets back. She's going to hook you up.
That's scary.
With a woman that scares you that you're going to want to marry. Okay?
Again, huh?
Awesome.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll get to that. Special guest today, Bobby Ryan, a great friend of mine. Bobby is an expert. It's a very important topic in senior living. She's been doing 18 years in the industry. She is currently the senior executive director at Watercrest Senior Living in Port St. Lucie, and she's also a certified dementia practitioner, which means you can sift through all the news that we see, right? Because they're kind of nuts out there.
I can sift through dementia and redirect. Yes.
Yes.
I can spot it. Yes.
You know, your place is great. I got to tell you, it's not like the old nursing home. I go into your facility. People are happy. They're living. I want that now. They cook all my food. They do my laundry. I can chase women and do stuff. That's it.
That's so true, Denny. I mean, the stigma of what senior living was back in the 1960s and 70s and even the 80s is not what it is today.
Right, exactly.
I think a lot of times the older generation, when they think of senior living, they think of
nursing home.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yes.
Right.
And senior living is not that. True senior living companies strive to honor our seniors, strive to serve them with excellence. And like you said, you know, many of them, Watercrest being the one that I know the best, is beautifully designed, thoughtfully designed, made for a way to make life easier as people age, to help them stay independent as long as possible and providing for all of their needs at the same time.
What a topic. I wouldn't have known that I would have to deal with this as I am. Folks, if you are listening, give them a number, because Watercress has won awards. Didn't you win awards like 2 years in a row as the best in the area?
Yeah, we have one from TC Palm,
okay,
Treasure Coast Magazine, or St. Lucie Magazine. We just won the Best Assisted Living. We also won the Best Assisted Living and Best Memory Care from U.S. News and World Report.
Wow.
So if they want to know, what's the number where they can call, Watercress?
772-877-2596. Someone is always there to talk to you. I would love to talk to you if you have questions about senior living. That's kind of what I specialize in, and I love helping people to find the solutions.
Oh, yes. And if you want to ask Bobby a question on the air, call into the station line 220-WSTU. For those challenged like myself, that's 9788. So 220-9788. You know what's so great? I go in there, and one of the most interesting characters you have a doctor living there, very successful, well-to-do, well off.
Yeah.
His wife dies. He got tired of living by himself. So he goes into your facility. The guy leaves and goes when he wants to. He has his car parked outside. So I said, let me get this straight. He gave up his house. Yeah, right? Let me tell the story.
It truly was. He's an incredibly intelligent man, Dr. Jim. It was a plastic surgeon, got a little bored, so he decided to go to law school. He got his law degree and then became a professor in plastic surgery, and loved his wife with all of his heart. And she passed away, and he was doing nothing and becoming a hermit, which happens especially for people who are uber intelligent like he is, and depending on his wife for a social life. And now he has no way to build those bonds. And he knew after a year, this isn't healthy. I know the road I'm going down. So he moved into our community, and it took him a while, but he is a social butterfly. He just started dating on Facebook. He's on the Facebook hookup page, whatever it is. The dating app, yes. And he's showing me, I had to approve the picture that he put up there.
So they take care of him. They do his laundry. They give him good feed, because I ate your food there. It's good. It's not terrible. It's very good. I think I'm going to go out on a date and come back later on and go to bed.
Well, she comes over and stays with him, and
Oh my God.
And he actually asked me, here's what's funny. He's like, what do I need to put on the door if I don't want anybody to enter? I was like, oh
wow.
Dr.
Do
James,
not disturb.
I don't know if I want to know all this, but you go live your best life.
There you go. Especially if I'm to the point where I don't know who or where I am. I want people to take care of me and feed me. What do you think there, Ray Thomas? Do you think you can go for that action or what?
Yeah, I figure in a couple of years I'm there.
Well, look, the thing about it, it's a very serious challenge. And let's talk about the expenses of the aging parent. There's the financial side, the physical expense, and then the biggest one, the emotional, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So finances, I know for everything else with inflation, it's always going up and up and up and up and up. What is the average to go into a facility like that?
So that is a great question. And you have to remember, if you're a business person, when you're looking at the structure of senior living, we only have one revenue stream, and that is rent and care costs. We're not McDonald's. We can't just go sell more hamburgers.
Right.
There's only one stream of revenue. So most assisted livings are not operating at a huge margin like we used to 20 years ago. After COVID, what happened, labor and things like that, we are operating at very small margins. So a lot of people think like, oh, there must be a lot of rich fat cats there because my mom's paying this amount of money. Most likely not. It's not a large profit at the end, not what you would think it would be. So in saying that, in other states outside of Florida, you would expect to spend a lot more. $9,000-$10,000 a month is what I just talked to a gentleman today. So in Florida, because of maybe competition, maybe because a lot of our expenses are less, you can find senior living for much less than that. You might want to be looking at independent living. You might want to be looking at assisted living, memory care, and then
so what's the difference between independent? Independent, they can pretty much get on out on their own and assisted, they have more issues that they need help with, right?
Yes, a lot of people in independent have issues, but the difference really, it really comes back to licensure. So in independent living, it's nothing more than an apartment.
Okay.
They don't provide for your medical care
I
at
see.
all.
My question is this: how much does insurance help with that? I mean, I guess this depends on the insurance company, but does that pay the majority of it, or
No.
how does that
No,
work?
that-
So
this is why it says-
insurance,
yeah.
that's the thing. So insurance, Medicare, that does not cover any of your expenses in senior living.
Mhm.
Now, unless you have long-term care insurance, and we're smart and wise to get it early on when
Right.
long-term care started,
Right.
there were some great plans, and then the plans changed a lot. And then there's the other option of Medicaid, but let's get there in a minute. First, we want to talk about, so independent living, you could probably find an apartment that would cover all of your utilities and food for $3,000
Okay.
in a lot of places.
Which is what young people are paying to work
Exactly,
and
exactly.
live.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when you're looking at assisted living, it could start anywhere from maybe 3,500 up to 6,000 or 7,000,
Okay.
depending on the size of the apartment. And then you have a cost of care on top of that. So those cost of care, that is individualized for what the team that works there needs to provide for you.
For the particular patient or client, for lack of a better.
Exactly.
term.
So averaging, I would say you could expect $6,000, $6,500 in
Yeah, there's a
assisted
lot of
living.
people that are listening going, yeah, we can't do that. I mean, but a lot of times, instead of the traditional long-term care, because you say you do take long-term care, you don't take Medicaid and stuff like that, but you can use assets that you have that will pay for a facility. That's a smarter way to plan for it. But it's a serious issue because, what are the other options if you can't afford that? Have someone come to their house, or Medicaid, where you have to spend on your assets.
So that's Medicaid. They recently had a few changes in the Medicaid laws. You
Yeah.
can actually still own a home
Okay.
and receive Medicaid. It used to
Okay.
be
Well,
not that way.
I thought you could, that if you have your primary residence, you can do that, but it's the other assets, the bank accounts, investments, that the look back can go back 5 years. So it's not like you can, wash it and they don't notice it.
Right.
It's
And the other thing that you have to think of is we're talking about a business. So Medicaid is going to pay about $2,000, $1,800 a month to that facility or community for your rent and for
that's
your
generally
care.
like the highest that they would pay for a
Right.
facility.
So the
Got it.
community is either going to make you pay the rest,
Right.
or they say, okay, we'll take whatever Medicaid can afford to pay us. So think about what a community is going to look like if they're only making $2,000 per resident and providing care and food and utilities and everything else. So
How's
that's
it even
something you really
possible?
have to consider.
Yeah. How's it even possible?
Exactly. There are
pretty tough.
communities
Yeah.
that mix, that do private pay and have some Medicaid apartments available. That's
Okay.
really the best choice to be in if you can. It might be a little bit more expensive and some out of pocket, but at least there's a greater revenue stream helping to support that bottom line.
So if you're listening, you'd like to call in and ask Bobby a question while you have it, please call the line here, 220-9788. I think we're just about ready for a break. Ray Thomas, we'll be back on Friday at 5.
He rocked the stage. Now he's rocking your weekend. It's Denny Artache. Fridays at 5. Your weekend starts now. And we'll be right back.
At Artache Financial Group, we really go out of our way to make our clients feel different. Different because we're fiduciaries that work for you, not any insurance company or fee-based company that's out there. So if it's investing basics, income planning, long-term care, disability, Medicare, Social Security, how to take care of your family, succession planning for businesses, insurance products, we have it all, and we explain it to you simply. And we are fiduciaries. We do work for you, not any other company. So give us a call at the office at 561-537-5897. That's 561-537-5897. 5897. Advisory services offered through Blackridge Asset Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities are offered through Peak Brokerage Services, LLC, member FINRA SIPC. Blackridge Asset Management, LLC, and Artache Financial Group are separate and independent entities from Peak Brokerage Services, LLC.
Spotlighting Martin County's events, energy, and entertainment. It's Fridays at 5 on 1450 WSTU. Call us at 220-9788. That's 220-WSTU. And now, your host, Denny Artache.
We are back at Friday at 5. I think we have a prank jerky boy on the line here.
No.
Bobby. Yeah. He says his name is Randy. You don't know a guy named Randy, do you?
I do. I do know somebody named Randy.
Okay, well,
the one and only.
Let's see what he has to say here. Okay, you're on the air with Friday at 5.
Hey, thank you, Denny, Bobby, and I believe is it Nina that's there as well?
That is correct. Is this the famous Randy?
This would be, as Bobby said, the one and only. Yes.
It's good to hear from you. Do you have a question about senior living?
Well, a comment and a question. The comment is, Denny, I like the idea of dating in the facilities. I think it's a great long-term plan for men. But the better plan is to have somebody who works there, and that's a nice little arrangement that you can make sure. That,
he's only saying that because Bobby's saying she's going to sign all of us up there and just watch us drool in our underwear and stuff while she just pokes fun.
I think a group rate of a quad would be a great idea.
Yeah, I'm going to put you and Denny in the same apartment.
No, that's not happening. No.
We got to keep costs down. Yes.
I know that a lot of, and you may be planning on speaking to this, but a lot of people, when I say people, potential residents, they have such a hang up to leave their environment and then move into a building as they would look at it. You have family members that are very frustrated and concerned, mostly about safety issues, about an elderly family member. And they really try hard to get that family member into your community. But there's so much resistance sometimes from the individual. Could you speak to that and any type of strategies that you incorporate?
We are going to be getting to that when we're talking about the emotional expense of an aging parent. This year, 4.2 million Americans are going to be turning the age of 65. That is a record-breaking number. And now the thing is that those people at 65, they're probably taking care of their parents when they're looking at trying to retire themselves.
Right. They know it
That's
firsthand. True. Absolutely. But, before the emotional, there's the physical side of this because, the real dangers of them falling or hurting themselves or burning the stove without realizing what's going on at the cost of, I want my independence.
And I think that's what Randy actually was just saying, about the safety issues that are very real. And adult children don't want to argue with mom and dad. No. They don't want to have a contentious relationship with them. They want to love their parent. They don't want their parent to be angry with them. I get it. But the fact that, mom is one fall away from having to go to a nursing home, or that UTI that nobody knows is there can cause such great confusion that mom that normally is, pretty okay on her own, now she is unrecognizable and behaving in ways that you can't explain. And we hear it all the time about, I don't want to take the car away from dad. He just goes to church. He just goes to the corner. He just, and okay, I get it. You don't want to have that uncomfortable conversation. However, dad is a risk to himself and others. And I will tell you this because it was a story that came to me, a family we'd been trying to work with. Oh, they didn't want to pressure mom and dad. Well, dad decided to take mom out for a joyride one night. He never saw the motorcycle in front of him, drove over it, killed the young man on the motorcycle.
Oh, no.
And at that point, had no choice. Thank God they had mercy on him. There was a huge lawsuit, but he was able to come and live in a memory care with his wife, and where he should have been for 3 or 4 years prior to that, to be getting the proper care. And that's really the reality when we're afraid to have those conversations or afraid to have the heavy hand with our parents and say, you know what? you can't make those decisions anymore. And you don't say it like that, but you know in your head, mom can't make those decisions anymore.
Right.
I have to, as a loving adult child, make those decisions for her. And there's also the physical effect of what it takes on you, of the adult child, being the physical caregiver, maybe looking at having to quit your job to take care of mom.
Right.
And I say this to not trying to scare anybody, but if you're at that place where your parents are aging, you got to put a plan in place.
It's the reality. We are
is.
all going to age, all of us.
And you have to have a plan.
If we're lucky.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
If we're lucky, but growing old is not for the faint-hearted.
That's true.
That's why
it is.
You and we all discuss about eating better and taking care of ourselves, so that we don't just have more years, but more life in the years.
Correct.
Quality
because
years.
that's the issue. And it's so funny because look at Carmine's 100 years old and still drives himself around.
Yeah.
He's such a minority. A lot of people, once they get 80, 81, their cognitive declines become more and more evident.
Yes.
And it's
They
just
actually
scary.
they call that a super ager. That is actually a term that is used
For Carmine?
that if somebody,
Yeah.
at the age of 80 or over still has the recognition capabilities of somebody in their 50s, they call them a super ager, and it's genetics that creates that. And I pray we all have those genes.
Really? That's it?
Yeah.
It's not about because I think Carmine led a pretty healthy life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, but you really think a lot of it is?
A lot of it is genetics. Yeah.
Uh-oh. That's it.
But but
I'm doomed.
But genetics will load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger.
That's correct.
I believe that. And
Yeah.
see, I believe that you have to keep the mind stimulated, and certainly watching 6 to 8 hours of television every day does not
It's
count.
not good. Right. It's not going to do it.
You have to read, you have to meditate, you have to exercise, you have to eat well, the same things.
Stay hydrated.
Interestingly
Yeah.
enough, Nina, from a nutrition standpoint, what should older people do, nutrition wise, to keep their brain more fresh and maybe delay these type of deals?
Well, even us
Mhm.
as women that are aging, more protein, because we don't digest protein as well as we used to. We just don't.
Mhm.
And then omega-3s for the brain,
Yeah.
and other fats for the brain.
Mhm.
Coconut oil,
MCT
MCT oils.
That Mediterranean diet is very good. There's recently been
Very important.
within the last 5 or 10 years, they put a lot of money into brain research, meaning the government, and found that we have so much more control over loss of our faculties, our mental faculties, than what we thought.
Right.
That-
I believe that.
That there are things, between like the things that Nina was just saying with diet, with changing your routine. It sounds funny. Brush your teeth with your other hand.
Right.
Little things like that.
Right.
Get
Right.
out of your
Learn-
routine.
Learn a new skill.
Do a
Yes.
crossword puzzle. Do something different where you're
Sudoku.
forcing
Yep.
yourself
Sudoku.
to think and keep the brain going. That's
Right.
And
exactly
actually,
right.
any exercises that cross the plane, meaning, right hand to left foot,
I see.
Right.
things like that, it actually forces both sides of your brain to connect with each other, and it does build new synapses. We are going to lose brain cells as we age, but they have found that we can actually create new ones.
I also think that a lot of these people that are like Carmine, they also have one other factor in common. They're happy.
Right.
They are
Mm.
grateful about life.
Right.
They don't let little things ruin their day. They're like, yeah, okay, whatever. That's nice.
And they're involved with others,
And they're involved with others. That's correct.
Involved with others.
So I really think it all goes hand in hand. Eat well, think well,
Mhm.
think well, think more positively, and be more grateful and gracious, because I think it does make a difference.
Well, actually, it does. That changes the chemical compounds in the brain. That makes you
Absolutely.
release more dopamine, endorphins, oxytocin.
yeah.
Those are all those feel good love hormones.
Yes.
When you think about gratefulness, when you connect with nature, connect with music, those are all things that we can do to change the chemical makeup of our brain, and also, be strategic about choosing our thoughts.
Right.
Yes.
And limit how much tequila you ingest.
Well,
right?
I don't know about that.
Let's not
That's a
go
different
crazy,
show.
Denny. Yeah. It's a family hour. Yes. Yeah, I heard that omega-3s are important
Yes,
with that.
very.
It really is. It's another.
And MCT. I mean,
Yeah.
a friend in California has his mom in a facility, and she began to act out, and you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
behaviors.
Behavior was totally changing. She was beginning to forget my friend's husband,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Wow.
incrementally. One day it was good, the next day it wasn't good, etc. I said, well, can you sneak in some coconut oil somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they started giving her more coconut oil, and her behavior, poor behavior in quotes, was reduced.
Mm-hmm.
And she felt better because, you know, coconut oil gives you energy.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
is true.
you two are almost describing an anti-inflammatory diet as well.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
You're having Mediterranean, not eating too many fried foods, good fats, not bad fats, limiting grain consumption,
Stay
right?
away from flour.
Yes.
Definitely stay away from
Flour
flour.
and sugar.
Anything that turns to sugar in the body. That's
so destructive.
They're finding that that's really has a lot to do with the cholesterol in the brain and the fats in the brain
sugar
and all
part.
that. It's
Yes.
the sugar. Yeah.
Sugar's the
it's
most
not
addictive.
about the fats.
I mean,
you
it's
eat.
crazy. It's in everything.
Mhm.
You know, you read it and you're like, I remember one time recently, I bought some pickles because I like pickles, and I read it and it had high fructose.
So it's corn syrup.
Yes. So I threw it out.
Flaccid.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, it's on sale. Let me try it. Then I said, let me do a Nina on this. Oh,
Yeah, turn it over.
high fructose. Drop.
Yeah.
I don't eat
Mhm.
that stuff. Peanut butter, as you know, that's
No.
that's
Filled
loaded
with
with high fructose.
Yes.
And the other stuff. Exactly.
Mycotoxins. Peanuts.
Yep.
Terrible.
I wonder, there's never been a study whether meat consumption contributes to that, right? I mean, I know that there was the China syndrome, where they thought it created everything. But I think if you eat good proteins, a lot of vegetables, watch the grains, the fried foods, and the tequila, you might be
You might be okay.
Did we hang up on Randy? I don't even know.
I think
if
we
he-
did. I think so.
did
I
we
think he
hang
hung up on
Randy?
us, actually.
But
I think he
I'm
got.
taking notes.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
my God.
Okay,
Good
good.
stuff.
Oh, okay. I thought
You're
you
still
left.
there?
Okay,
Jesus
honey. I'm
Christ.
sorry. I thought you were gone.
Yeah, I didn't want to be rude, but I'll hang up now. Thanks for the information, ladies, Bobby and Denny and Nina. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. And if
He's
you would
not
like
gonna
to
let us
call,
hear that.
if you would like to call and ask a question or just chime in on the conversation with experiences that you've had with your aging parent, we would love to hear from you at 222-9788. That's 222-WSTU.
Yeah, it's a real deal. I mean, I'm dealing with it, and my mom, I'm respecting her. She wants her independence and everything, but I also tell her, Mom, I mean, you need help. There's no shame in that. Because I'll say it for the third time. When it's my turn, yes, someone take care of me, cook for me, do my laundry, let me hang out and play or whatever, you know?
Right.
Yeah. You know, Denny, there's so much to that. And that's really talking about the emotional expense of the
Yes.
aging parent.
Let's
And
talk
this is
about that,
something
yeah.
that no one prepares us for. We
Yeah.
never think about it when we're growing up, what we're going to do with our lives. Caring for our aging parent is not on that list of things that we're going to do. However, if you're lucky enough and blessed enough to still have your parents, that is going to be your role. It's going to be
Yes.
somebody's role to care for them
But
and
they've-
make decisions for them.
And they've got to want to do it. I mean, obviously, they have rights like everyone else. And I think it's more of a safety issue. It's not like we're trying to punish them or anything. It's like,
Gosh, no.
listen, you know, I'm concerned as I'm with my business and everything that I'm doing that you're safe. That's very
Yes.
important. I mean, that would be terrible that something happened to our parents while we're working somewhere.
Right.
And the cops call us and go, hey, I hope you're sitting down, you know,
Right.
and that's a real fear for all of us.
And we want to enhance their life. Let's
Yes.
face it, as we age, our world gets very, very small. Most people, you know, we're looking at that aging parent that's alone, or even a couple that they're still together. They're not going to eat well because cooking
Right, yeah.
becomes scary.
Mhm.
The whole shopping, the preparation takes too much. You know, they're going to be eating TV dinners or granola bars. I walked into one woman's refrigerator. She had 80 bags of potato chips
Oh,
no.
in the
wow.
refrigerator
Oh,
and Coca-Cola and Gatorade. And that's what she
Wait.
had been living on.
my mom loves soda. I say, Mom, what do you do? She loves cookies. She loves cakes.
Yeah. All the wrong
candy.
things.
Yeah,
All the wrong things.
exactly. But she's just kind of like, you know, hey, I made it this long.
Right.
Who are you to tell me
Yeah,
what I should
moderation.
eat?
Of
Exactly.
course, of course. But it's different when, you know, when they're eating like that because it's something quick that they can put
Yeah.
in and they can't do anything else. Not to mention the socialization. They're alone. They're watching the
Yeah.
TV. brains are going to atrophy if you don't use them.
Right.
And we've learned that the social aspect of life is one of the most important things we can have as we age. The social interactions, the communication, all the things that fire in your brain when you're having a conversation with
Right.
somebody can't really be replicated anything when you're by yourself.
Hey,
I'm so grateful
I
that
know
my
people in
mom
there-
is so involved.
Yes.
What's that?
My mom is so involved, and
fortunate.
Oh,
I'm,
that's great.
and I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Jupiter Maltz Theater, she has her trainer 3 times a week. I mean,
She's smart.
she's a badass.
Yeah, I know. I guess the challenging part is do a lot of them go in there that still have their mental,
So
wits about 'em,
honestly,
or
honestly, it is really great if people can make this choice for themselves
yes,
when they realize they don't want to be a burden
to their kids,
to their kids,
Yeah.
and they make this decision before something happens.
Right?
And I hear that all the time. Oh, we're going to wait until something happens. Well, what is that something going to be? You're going to fall. You're going to break a hip. You're going to
Right.
dehydrate. Like, what is that something that you're waiting for? Because whatever it is isn't good. Senior living, like you said, is not about a punishment. It is a
Right.
reward and a quality way of life where you're getting your needs met. You have eyes on you. You can have your physical needs cared for, like showering, bathing, med management, all those things
and your
that make life easier.
Your facility's great. They've got water. They can walk on there. They're dancing.
They're walking on water.
They're walking
Jesus
on
has
water.
not checked in yet.
Yes,
No.
they're walking on water. You know what I mean, Randy?
There's a beautiful pond out
Yes.
back that you can
I said
watch the
walking.
sunrise.
I said walking around water, not
I think
walking
you s-
on
okay,
water.
all right.
That would be something. I would pay to see that.
That is quite a
okay?
community I have.
I'll
People walk on
sponsor.
water. That's amazing.
Nice, Bobby. Well, that took
Yes.
that punchline out of there.
But it is no, I mean
they have a
truly.
hot dog stand, folks. You should go there. No,
We do
Watercrest has
not.
won some facility, some awards the last couple of years. It's very nice, very beautiful. Most of the people there look very happy. I didn't see one person with a sourpuss on their face. So that
And
says
that's a good
lot.
thing to look at. You know what? When
Yeah.
you're looking at senior
Yeah.
living for your parents, the most trusted person you can talk to are the other residents that live there or the family members
Right, exactly.
of those residents. And if the community doesn't want you to do that, then something's wrong. I will hand out the phone numbers of my
don't let them
family
meet any of the
members.
regulars. Don't
Yeah.
keep them away. Wait till the check clears. All right, let them out now.
Yeah, I mean, you want to make
One
sure.
flew over the cuckoo's nest. Yeah.
Yes, you want to make sure the quality that you're providing for your parents. So it's very important to talk to them about that. But as we were saying about, how do you make this transition? And I really hope that I know I'm a stubborn soul, but that I will make those decisions for my son so he doesn't have to, and that I can move to that place in my life when I can enjoy it. I can enjoy the fact that I don't have to cook and clean, and I can have friends and still drive and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people don't do that. And it's either when that something happens or the kids realize, wow, mom is really not safe, or mom is really lonely or depressed, or dad, all he does is watch TV. He's barely walking, and we notice the deterioration. And now it's like, okay, I have to do something. And honestly, every family is different. I have seen people get very creative to have somebody move to senior living. So one aspect is you can say, we're going to try this for a while. We're going to try it for 2 months, see what you think.
Right.
And because you can do that. It's not annual leases or anything like that you sign when you move into senior living. It's a month by month lease. So that's, a great option. And many people, they get there, they've made friends.
And Bobby, the reality is if they don't want to, the reality is if they don't want to stay there, they're not going to stay there. Right. I mean, it's not like they're going to jail. It's
yeah, of course.
It's a voluntary facility. So some of you may notice that Bobby's a little bit of a ringer. She does radio herself for many years. In fact, Ray Thomas was like, all right, that's it. You've got to leave because you're going to replace me. Right, Ray?
No,
Were you
she
saying
already
it?
did replace
She
me.
did? Really? She's on the payroll? So, Bobby, you
She's
do
great.
you do a radio show now, right?
Yeah, I am a voice tracker for a Christian radio station in Pennsylvania, in State College.
She's got a great radio voice.
No.
She does, right? You want to hire her?
I would hire her in a minute.
You would?
Yeah.
How much?
Okay.
I'll be your agent.
We can talk.
10%.
We can talk.
I don't have the power to do that, but if I did,
But if you did,
at one time I used to. You know?
Well, thank you.
Jim,
That's
if
a
you're
very nice
listening,
compliment. I
you may
appreciate that.
have another DJ here have her own show. What do you think?
Yeah, she's very knowledgeable, has a great voice. So does Nina, and so do you. So
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just a dude who's trying to keep the pieces together.
Trying to be Mr. Humble over here. I get it.
Well,
It's a good
I
quality.
I think the best part of the shows are the guests that we have. I mean, and we do. I know we're supposed to talk about fun topics, and it's happy hour, and like, woo, just pound them down. But this is a much needed, serious topic.
Mhm.
I'm personally living it. Many our age, we're dealing with it,
A lot of families are going
and
through it.
Mhm.
it's interesting because I'm going full on with I have a new division in my company, and it's about legacy and estate financial planning. This ties in so much to that.
Absolutely.
And I try and tell everyone, don't wait for someone to die and probate to eat up your fees, and you have to wait. And the person who passed away, their proceeds didn't go the way they wanted it to.
Right.
We just talked about earlier how dangerous it is driving out there. This mortality is a reality, and you owe it to your family to talk about these topics. Same with estate and legacy planning, because just like this, if you don't plan and someone passes away, you have to deal with probate. It's going to cost you money. And a lot of times the family's fighting because they want to do something different than the original person wanted it. And I don't see this as much different. You should talk about it while everyone still has their mental facility upstairs.
And things that really need to be put in place is a power of attorney. Power of attorney paperwork, living will, your healthcare proxy, those things. And you can do that really, at any age, because who knows? I mean, anyone else could be in a debilitating car accident. And how is anybody going to access your bank accounts to pay your bills or anything like that? Those are good conversations.
That's
to have.
another reason why my division that's going to deal with that exactly. Like, you could be married and all of a sudden your husband or wife is in an accident and in a coma, and you want access to their accounts, but you don't have access. Had you had the proper planning, you wouldn't be dealing with this situation. So
I'm going to have to make a meeting with you because I want to discuss that. I think.
Yes. It's I saw that there was such a need, and I've been speaking to clients, and I've partnered up with this company that we have our own attorneys, our own people that they do trust if you need it. They do actually power of attorneys, they do healthcare surrogates, and what was the big thing that people pay $8,000 for, where you take the rights away because guardianship. That's part of the legacy and estate planning.
So let's talk about that. So power of attorney and guardianship are very, very different.
Yes,
and there are different ways that a power of attorney paperwork can be written. But a power of attorney does not give you the right to take somebody's rights away from them. So for instance, if you're your dad's power of attorney and he could be really unsafe, he could have, dementia into the second and third stages, and you don't make the right choice, and maybe he's not in a memory care, you don't have the right doc, whatever, but he can be a victim of a lot of crimes. He can, and I've seen this happen, where they access their money and give it away to somebody who is
nice to them,
on their vulnerabilities.
Yep.
It happens more times than I would like to tell you. So a guardianship does actually have to go through the court, and it is very expensive, but that is saying that this person is a danger to themselves or others, and that a guardian has to be placed over them to make those decisions for them.
Which is for their
Yes.
benefit. It's not that someone, my goodness, the day I turn into a clueless senator, I hope someone puts me away in a nice facility. In other words, I don't know what I'm saying or doing or talking or who I am or what I stand for.
Yeah.
Please, someone put me somewhere safe.
But
because that's besides cybersecurity, that's the biggest threat of people living longer, not knowing who the heck we are or where we are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a scary reality.
Yeah.
Safety is a huge issue.
And you could be in that position for years before you check out. That
Yes.
you also have. There's another division that's for memory care for the severely where they can no longer do much of anything, right?
No, not true. Actually,
okay.
that is really a misnomer and a misconception.
Okay.
People in memory care are on somewhere on the spectrum of dementia, whatever is
Okay.
causing it, whether it be frontal lobe, vascular, Alzheimer's, could be many things. And they're not safe or they're not comfortable
Well,
in
that's
a
my
larger
point.
environment.
They have to be watched 24 hours. Correct?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
watched makes it sound very prison-like.
I'm sorry.
So no, it's more like when you baby-proof a playroom. There's nothing
okay.
unsafe that the
Okay,
person
got
can
it.
get into.
Yeah.
They still play bingo. They still will do trivia. They still make crafts. They still have a valuable life, but maybe they can't maneuver a large assisted living. They might get lost from their apartment to the dining room, or it's just scary. It's just too scary to have that many choices and be that big, and they just need more support.
And if they get confused,
Mhm.
and
So a memory, yes, a memory care environment is going to provide you a higher staff to
I
resident
see. Okay.
ratio, more hands-on, more deliberate programs that really help to stimulate the different areas of the brain. And also they can age in place. So as somebody, maybe they've lost their communication skills, there's a team of people there that can help them to order their food, make those choices for them. And they can age in place till their last days. But that doesn't mean that you have to be not able to do anything to be in memory care. It just means that you benefit from the extra support of more staff.
So once again, the number to Watercrest, if they'd like to call and find out more information.
772-877-2596.
Again, great facility. I want to perform there once, and I know you told me, dude, if you come there, don't sing Sinatra music, okay? Do Billy Joel, and because these people, they used to watch Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin, not Frank Sinatra.
You gotta remember,
And
you
I'm
gotta
like,
remember your
oh
audience.
man, but I like, don't do it.
It's not the American Songbook anymore. We're not in that generation.
Dude, they want to hear Steppenwolf and stuff. Well, think about it. If they're in their 70s, 80s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they still like Frank. I mean,
No.
Blue Eyes.
No,
with the
I'm
mix,
telling
don't
you,
they?
because
I mean,
I used to, years ago, I was on that circuit,
Yeah.
and the problem is everyone comes in and does Frank. So that
everybody sings New York, New York. Sweet Caroline.
Yes,
My Way.
My Way.
no, I
yes.
get that. Now, I DJ'd, many parties over the years, and went out on Nettles Island. Okay, and I started playing the music you're talking about, and they said, "Hey, look, we're old, we're not dead. So play some Nirvana, play some live for me."
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yes, if they listen to music in the 60s and they were in their 20s, do the
Right.
math.
Right.
They're in Bobby's facility now,
They
you
like,
know?
But I would imagine they'd like a mix, though. But that's me.
They do, but
know?
it's just that every single person comes in there playing Sinatra.
Playing Sinatra,
That's
yeah.
'cause
And
that's
they
what's-
think
And
that's-
not just Sinatra, but the same songs.
Right. And you have to remember, these people have entertainers 2 and 3 nights a week, every week. And 2 or 3 nights a week, they're hearing My Way.
You know what's so great?
Over.
They are so brutally honest, man. If you're stinking it up, they'll let you know. It's never happened to me,
Of course.
but I've heard stories where I would go in there for the facility. Hey, listen, you're good, right? Because they're kind of tough here, and I go, really? What do you mean? Well, you'll see.
That's kind of like reverting back to your childhood, because when you're a child, you're brutally honest. That's true. So when you get
that's
older,
what I'm saying. One time I remember. I forgot, I wasn't watching stuff, and I might have gained a few pounds, and it was like a year later, and she's talking out loud. She thinks, and she's whispering. She's like, "Oh, he's back. Looks like he gained a few pounds." And I went, "Hey, I heard that. Okay, just for that, I'm singing New York, New York." Well, they also would say, listen, don't make that the last song of your set, because that's when they do it. All right, we're going to go now with Spread. Shut up already. With the New York, New York.
Hey, get out of here. Forget about it.
Oh, my God.
All right, so I'll go and I'll bring my guitar. I'll wrap that Jimi Hendrix around their head. You ain't got nobody like me.
There you
Jerky
go.
Boy Rock. Listen, I'm glad we could laugh on a serious topic. If you are listening, please reach out. You're not alone. Get help. Help is available. And, like you said, we're not punishing. We want to take care of our parents. We want to make sure that they're safe and that, nothing bad happens to them.
And it may take a lot of times of taking mom and dad to visit the same community a few times.
Yes.
Because it's scary. Let's think about that. Think about middle school. You don't know anybody. It's a way of life. You're moving, which is the most stressful thing that we can go through is a physical move. You don't know what life is going to be like.
Yes.
It is scary. And we have to be empathetic and sympathetic to that to understand.
All right, we're going to take another break and come back with Friday at 5. Thank you.
He rocked the stage. Now he's rocking your weekend. It's Denny Artache. Fridays at 5. Your weekend starts now. And we'll be right back.
At Artache Financial Group, we really go out of our way to make our clients feel different. Different because we're fiduciaries that work for you, not any insurance company or fee-based company that's out there. So if it's investing basics, income planning, long-term care, disability, Medicare, Social Security, how to take care of your family, succession planning for businesses, insurance products, we have it all, and we explain it to you simply. And we are fiduciaries. We do work for you, not any other company. So give us a call at the office at 561-537-5897. That's 561-537-5897. Advisory services offered through Blackridge Asset Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities are offered through Peak Brokerage Services, LLC, member FINRA SIPC. Blackridge Asset Management, LLC, and Artache Financial Group are separate and independent entities from Peak Brokerage Services, LLC.
Get your weekend started right. It's Fridays at 5. Local fun, fresh laughs, and feel-good vibes right here on 1450 WSTU. Here's your host, Denny Artache.
We are back. It's still hot outside. I checked. You can still cook food out there. Just bring out your pans. And, before I forget, we're doing, Nina, I think I told you, we're doing Latin night at Double Roads in Jupiter every Tuesday. This is kind of cool because they actually have dance instructors. They teach them how to dance bachata, merengue, salsa. You didn't know about this?
I did not know about this.
So every Tuesday, and then what happens is when they're done by like 7, then we come on, and I have Raul and Nelson, nothing but authentic Latin stuff because we do with the tracks, timbales, congas, the guitar. And then after the 4th or 5th cocktail kicks in, then we start breaking out the rock and blues stuff. But if you're interested in a Latin night at Double Roads in Jupiter, it's the lessons start from 4 to 7. We come on, and it's a pretty cool experience. It hurts the next day. I mean, I like to get up at 5:30 and hit the gym, and even just going to sleep at 11, I feel it from last night. And I drank water. So I know there's a lot of people that are hurting right now, and but Randy, he can handle it, right? He's the party animal, right?
Yes, you perform with Randy a lot, and yeah, I mean it's amazing how little sleep that man can function on.
I don't know how he
and
does
how much
it.
energy he has.
What about McGann? Yeah. McGann is like, I looked at his girl and I said, "Hey, listen, I have a word for Mike." She goes, "What?" Decaf.
He's got ADD, ADHD,
he's
all
like,
of the letters.
Yes,
he's
he was
like
hooping and
place.
hollering.
Yeah. So
and
much
between
energy.
him and Randy try to outdo each other. I'm just sitting there back there watching it, laughing. But last night was actually, it was a nice crowd. We had Rob Russell from Cafe Central. Larry Johnson showed up and sang a few.
Great. Yeah.
So it was good. And but man, I'm like at the gym this morning going, dude, what are you doing? It's 2 weeknights that you know.
Yeah, anytime you can get a chance to see Officers and Gentlemen perform, it is definitely worth it because you never know who the cast of characters exactly will be.
That's true.
Or how bad we're going to make fun of each other.
And that's true, too. It's funny. It is kind of like watching one of the old celebrity roasts. There's a lot of that to it. And so Officers and Gentlemen is definitely a show that you want to check out with your friends and your family next time they're in town.
Well, man, we have to wait all the way till October for the next honor flight, huh?
Yeah.
Geez, that's
I
always
thought
a
it was
great
going to
time.
be in September. Isn't that
No,
what
I
you told me?
October
I
and
think
November.
it picks up
Okay.
October. But more people are finding out about Officers and Gentlemen, and because we do, we have Gunny John. I really like the addition of Anthony. He's my favorite redneck because he sings all that country stuff and authentically too, and he's pretty funny. So between those two, Randy and I, we pretty much kind of, and then of course when McGann shows up when he's not signing autographs, because let's face it, he is Mr. What did he win the award for? Mr. Sensational.
Mr. Sensational.
He's gonna tattoo that on his backside.
Nina was in a dance competition, and Mike of all people wins Mr. Sensational. We're never going to hear the end of that.
Wow.
Not for as long as we live.
You know, I could see Randy doing that.
Oh, I could see that too. He is Mr. Sensational.
I could see him hamming it up. And Randy, are you listening? That's the challenge, buddy. Maybe you can wear spandex while you do it.
He's done that. You know, it is. It's been great, you know, just being able to have this conversation with you, and you know, and I love, you know, talk and getting to know you, Denny, and getting to know the situation with your mom, and getting to know you personally, and seeing how you're walking through that. And you know, I think it's really important that we remember that even though we're having a hard time dealing with our parent is having a hard time. And remembering to be sympathetic to that moving can be really super scary. If you're thinking about moving to a community or hiring a caregiver, give them time to get used to that person before you leave them with them for 12 hours. Visit the community 5, 10, 12 times. Give them a chance to actually make friends there so it's not so scary. And understand that your parent or your loved one, if they're in the beginning stages of dementia, they know that something's not right. And that's very scary. And so the behaviors, attitudes, anger that you might be seeing is them just trying to hold on to anything that might be normal. But the good news is that in that time, there is a window that if they move into a community, start getting the proper nutrition, hydration, medication, and care, we can prolong that dementia for a very long period of time. But you got to see that window and act on it in order to care for them that way.
All right, that settles it. Me, Randy, McGann, and Victor are all going to sign up to your place. And
you know, you could sing. We could work out. You know, you could be our entertainment. We can work out a barter system.
I know where you're going with that. I know.
Rake and wash dishes, I guess.
So I can just sell all my holdings and belongings, cash it, right? And okay. Well, you know, I want to thank you without getting emotional on the topic, because you just reminded me. I mean, patience, it's not one of my biggest virtues. I have been working on it, but it's tough. It's difficult because it's almost like we're the parent now and they're the kids, when to a certain level. And I don't mean that in a disparaging or demeaning factor, but just at the fact that they're unable to make the right decisions for emotional reasons. But you're right. It's got to be so much harder for my mom. And I don't realize that, me being busy at everything I do. And it's challenging to have the patience. I try as best I can. Because we don't prepare ourselves for this. It's not like you go to get a college degree, go, hey, by the way, you're going to have to take care of your parents, and this is how you do it. You know? No one talks about this. Even the long-term care conversation in itself, a lot of families know they need it, but they put off dealing with it. And then it happens. And now they're scrambling. Same thing with the new division with the legacy and estate planning and financial planning for that. You know, think about this. The generations to go, like your grandkids and their kids, would love to know your life, what your values were, what you believe in, what kind of messages you could leave for them. So when they're growing up, they're like, oh, wow, look what my great or grandparent left me because they loved me enough to do so. Or they took care. Oh, I have a college fund because they took care of me and they planned for it. And you've got to do it before the blank hits the fan.
Right.
And this is no different, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess it's like dealing with our own mortality. Who wants to do that, right? So you've got to trick them into...
Well, and the thing is, your parents love you and they don't want to be a burden to you. Have those conversations early.
Yeah.
And they know they're going to go one day. They know they're going to age. And if you have those conversations at the right time early on, they will go much easier.
Yeah, you have a son at least. I don't have any kids, so I'm probably gonna. Who is that? Just some old geezer. He doesn't even know who he is. He said he was a rock star, but I don't believe it. Yeah, they all say that rock star stuff. What about you, Ray? Have you got a plan?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, you could marry someone who's 20 years younger than you.
I figure I'm going to be like Mel Brooks, be the 2,000-year-old man.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
What about George Burns? He died. He lived a long time.
100 years.
And he smoked cigars and drank.
That's how you do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, do they smoke in your facility anywhere?
No, we are a non-smoking community. I do have some people that do smoke, and they have to go outside and away from the community.
Nice. They figure, hey, I lived this long. What are you going to tell me to change? Mm-hmm. All right, that wraps it up. I hope you have a great weekend, folks, and thanks for tuning in for Friday at 5 with Denny Artache and his great friends. Make it a great weekend. Ray Thomas, be careful out there. Be careful out there.
You too. That's a wrap on another ride through the heart of the Treasure Coast. You've been tuned into Fridays at 5, from finance to local talk and everything in between. We hope you're heading into the weekend just a little bit wiser and a whole lot more entertained. Big thanks to you for making this the best hour of the week. We'll see you next Friday right here on Martin County's Heritage Station, 1450 WSTU. Stay safe, stay smart, and stay tuned. WSTU Stewart.